but how many people even know that China is the second largest producer of silver in the
Yeah,
world?
it used to be
Yeah,
Mexico and Peru.
yeah,
So
and now
China's,
China's up to number
yeah,
two in between Mexico and Peru,
yeah.
and and yet they find it important enough to accumulate silver to whereby they are putting as high as a $4 premium. It's backed off a little bit. It's over $3 premium. It's north of 10% on the Shanghai price that they will pay for silver delivered to Shanghai versus what you can get it for in London or New York, and therefore incentivizing arbitrage. So they're the second largest producer in the world. They have an elevated premium so that they can attract anything that's not nailed down by the sophisticated traders who can buy in the West and deliver in the East. And now I've had it validated by Sean from Dolly Varden and by others like Keith Neumeyer who talk about the Chinese going throughout Latin America, paying much higher than the West will for unrefined silver in doré and concentrate form and shipping it back for refining in China.
Folks, you might not know this, but I accept orders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and if I miss your call, I will call you back as soon as possible. So if you want great customer service, weekly specials, and someone who you can rely on 24/7, then email me slayer@milesfranklin.com or call me 330-485-6172.
Huge deal. Of course, we can talk about the Samsung battery that everyone's talked about, the solid state battery that will achieve such benchmarks as a 600-mile radius, 20-year lifespan, and 9-minute charge. My daughter owns a Tesla, and I will tell you that it gets at best about 350 to 400 miles, and it's the extended range version. It takes at minimum, if you use a high power charger, I forgot what they're called, the quick charge that you can find like at a Target or some of the malls or whatnot that Tesla has all over the place. Minimum of 45 minutes to an hour. If she charges it at home, which is the 240-watt current, I believe, the same level that your clothes dryer runs off of, it takes all night. It will charge by the morning. Um, and of course, the lifespan, 20 years, I guess that remains to be seen how long the Tesla batteries last. But this is the real deal. And it takes as much as a kilo of silver per battery. And they're already in talks with manufacturers like Toyota and whatnot. So I'm sure Elon Musk will figure that out too. And the expansion of uses for silver is dramatic. And then one other thing I want to talk about, two other things. We find out that 2024 will be another massive deficit. It's a structural deficit now. It's the fourth year in a row that we've seen a deficit between supply and demand. It will be as much as 215 million ounces. It's the second largest in more than 20 years. So this is something that continues to, more demand than supply. Coming out of the ground at 7 to 1, yet priced at 85 to 1. I don't know if I've ever seen a better value in every way. Structural deficit, increase in demand in green and military, as the pickaxes talked about, in monetary, in things like the car batteries, all that stuff, and yet the price is befuddling. And then we see this, and this is something to me that really betrays all of it. And that is just this week we saw 3,830 silver contracts delivered, right? Delivered. And well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Only 3,830. Multiply that times 500, you get 19,150,000 ounces delivered in one day. Now, who's got that kind of money to deliver that kind of silver? And this is something that is accelerating. So you see massive deliveries, a supply demand deficit, increase in uses, a 7 to 1 ratio between the price of gold divided or silver into the price of gold is 85 to 1 right now. We'll call that man's ratio. God's ratio, the mining ratio, is 7 to 1 and falling. I don't know that you could ask for a better investment in every respect ever. And so I think it doesn't help the fact that the price is counterintuitive. It makes people want to bang their head against the wall. But at some point, all of these facts have to align with reality. And this is what happens when you suppress and manipulate prices, where the LBMA admits to trading 290 million ounces of silver per day, but they say that's 10 times understated because they only post the final settlement numbers, which would mean they're trading almost 3 billion ounces of silver per day. That's 3.5 times annual global mine supply, which is decreasing per day. They only have 300 million ounces that do not belong to someone. They have 800 million there, which, by the way, is real damn close to the lowest level they've ever had at the LBMA since they started keeping records. But 500 million plus, according to records, belong to the ETFs, SLV and Bullion Vault and all the others that are there. That means 300 million ounces, yet they're trading, they admit, to that whole stash every single day, and then 10 times that amount from there, minimum. So yeah, it's a situation where, you have to have strong fingertips, man. You got to hang on, and you got to realize that there are very few opportunities you will ever witness in your lifetime in investing that would have this impressive of a set of criteria to examine. Massive increasing demand in 3 or 4 uses. The plurality of demand is unusual in the commodity in and of itself. Military, green, digital, monetary. I mean, so and within the industrial applications, you have a gazillion, solar panels and medical devices and water purification and on and on and on. Silver is needed everywhere. And yet it's disappearing in nature. It's gone from 16 to 1 for 5,000 years to 7 to 1 mining ratio. And that the price is at the upper end of the stratosphere in terms of where it's been in its 5,000 year history, 6,000 year history. This represents less than 1/10 of 1% of the time that we've seen an 85 to 1 price ratio. I mean, in every respect, I don't know that you could find a better fundamental set of criteria
Can't.
to invest in. I
Yeah,
don't.
nothing makes as much sense as silver. Not even close. Not even close. It is really incredible. Like there will be people looking back after silver takes off, looking back and being like, it was so blatantly obvious. Like only
I should have
people that
listened to
get
that
it.
Silver Slayer, man. I should have listened to that dude. That's what
Right.
they're all going to be
Right.
saying.
Yep. Yep.
You're
Like there
right
will be
though,
a
and it
yeah.
is, and
Yeah.
it's maddening. It truly is maddening, but it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, and that's the maddening part about
Yeah,
it.
like this was from jpost.com or the Jerusalem Post. It's actually a great website. They actually reached out to me and thanked me for covering another one of their articles. Really nice people. But this was posted a couple weeks ago. Industrial demand might consume the entire silver market by
Yep.
2025.
Yeah, there you go. And that's the point. And so industrial demand, what does that really mean? I mean, look at the Silver Institute numbers, and that takes out of the equation, as we've talked about before, military uses. And we know that they use a copious amount in military. That doesn't really even speak about monetary uses. And so yeah, it's one of these deals. And I know what we talk about on your channel is primarily silver, but I think it's important to also bring into the context gold because they are connected so closely. And first of all, if we look at the same criteria, gold delivered on the August contract so far is almost 30% of the entire registered category, meaning the registered category are the bars that are available for delivery backing the contracts. 30% of it was delivered already, nearly, in just the August contract. And, that works out to 4,142 100-ounce contracts. So let's see how much money that is, right? 4,142 times 100, that's 414,200 ounces. Let's just call it times 2,500. That's 1 billion 35,500,000, if I'm not mistaken. The point of it is that who the hell's got that kind of bread to stand for that kind of delivery? In Q2 of 2024, over 330 tons of gold, or 10.6 million ounces of gold, was delivered off the London over-the-counter market, or the LBMA. So when you talk about gold and silver, you can see the massive value that very sophisticated investors are seeing in not only accumulating huge amounts, but give me it, taking it off the exchange, removing counterparty risk. And that's something that I think is really worth talking about. And again, talking about the same thing we said about silver, the LBMA says they trade 17 million ounces of gold, but they admit that it is in the London Liquidity Survey. They admit that it's 10 times the daily net settled clearing volume, which would mean they're trading 170 million ounces of gold per day. It is this type of rehypothecation, this type of shenanigans that is making the rest of the world say, no, 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 I'll stand for delivery. Thank you very much. And whether it be gold or silver, this is a trend that is accelerating. And I say this, yes, as the owner of a large gold company, but more as someone who's trying to be completely straight with the public. There is no better investment I've ever seen in 34 and a half years of finance than silver, period. And gold is right there, but the leverage that you get and an asset that is still trading, almost half of its all-time peak from 1980 is something that has been skewed, its real value skewed by the London Metals Exchange and the COMEX and the bullion bankers who suppress the price. Someday people will look back, like you said, and say, my God, why didn't I trust my gut on that? I don't know that I've ever seen a better value.